That's a fun story. One thing that I think about for Christmas, and that you've done for as long as I can remember, is to give to someone else who doesn't have as much. And it's not just one of those that Dad's very good about not drawing attention to what he's doing as far as how generous he is, but as I got older I picked up on things that he was doing, and I'm so grateful, because I think that's one of the biggest blessings, is to learn how to be generous. And you are extravagantly generous, and so I appreciate that model for me, and then hopefully I'll model that for my children. But just looking back, so like I have taken that from you, and when you were a boy, did y'all do things around Christmas or that Thanksgiving time to give back? And like you mentioned, the Depression, and just people didn't have a lot, so what could you give? Like, it's not, you and I both know, and I'm sure y'all know, it's not always about money. It's time, it's things, it's food, it's all these things. So, I mean, is there something that stands out to you as an example of, well, this is what we did to
Yes.
pay it forward, I guess is what we say now, or just to be generous?
Yeah, thank you, Joy. Yeah, that, well, two things. One is, I thank you for saying that about my generosity and giving and not trying to draw attention to it. I will confess, one reason I do that is because I don't give enough that if people found out about it, I'd be ashamed. Now, if I gave a lot more, I'd probably want everybody to know it. But anyway,
I'm not laughing at that.
So,
I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of laughing at that.
Well, but it is fun. It's fun to give. But when I was probably, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, through that period of time, up till I was about maybe 12 or 13 years old, I can remember. I don't remember them individually, but I remember seeing them and hearing them and being with them. 5 old widows. I mean, these ladies were old, and they lived, at different little places and in extremely poor conditions. And because where I grew up in a farm, and there was a time when the county I grew up in was in the bottom 5 counties economically in the state of Alabama.
Wow.
And then peanuts came along, and it put us up in higher, it didn't really help. But anyway, Daddy, and I found this out later, and Mother, of course, was in on it too, but Daddy would save for 2 months. He would save $50, because that's what it cost. And the week, usually it was around 2 days before Christmas Eve, or maybe the day before Christmas Eve. We would go to the Piggly Wiggly, or the IGA, one of the stores there that we used to go to Mr. Hugh Herndon's store, but anyway, Mr. Hugh had a grocery store. So we would go there and we would buy 10 bags of groceries, $50. They average about $5 a bag. And we would take 2 bags for each of 5 people. 5 ladies.
Okay.
Well, of course, I was 8 years old, 10 years. I didn't think about what it was costing. I just would take the bags out to the truck, and Daddy would pay Mr. Hugh. And I didn't know $50 didn't mean anything to me, but that was a ton of money. I mean,
that would be like what for us? Like 200?
Oh, probably 500.
Oh, wow.
Well, when you think about it, because each of the old ladies got a turkey, a whole turkey, a ham, candy, nuts, fruit, canned goods,
wow,
all packed in those 2 big grocery bags.
Yeah.
So we would put them in the truck, and my brother went some too, but we'd drive first to this one house, and Daddy would start blowing the horn like the world was coming to an end. And he'd keep blowing the horn, and we just laugh and have a big time. And finally, this elderly widow would stick her head out the door, and it'd be cold, she'd stick her head out the door, and they would all do the same thing. They'd throw their hands up and say, "Lord, it's Mr. Buddy and little Johnny." And there's little Buddy, you know, and Buddy would be there. And so we'd get out of the truck and she'd say, "Y'all come on in and give me some neck." Now that's an old Southern expression, give me some neck.
I'm gonna start saying that to the boys.
Oh.
Y'all come give me some neck.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
I like it.
Yeah, and what it means is come hug my neck and kiss my neck or kiss me on the cheek, but it's give me some neck. That's old Southern expression. And so Bud and I would take a bag, and Daddy would get a bag, and we'd go in and sit with these old ladies, sit by the fire, and talk for a few minutes, and usually about an hour. And we loved it because they had some stories. I mean, you're talking about stories. Moving to Alabama in a covered wagon. I mean, building your own house. I mean, amazing stuff. And so we'd sit and visit, and then we'd go to the next house. It'd take all day. Then we'd go to the next house, saying, "Lord, it's Mr. Buddy. Come in, give me some neck." So I've been giving neck since I was little, so I can give neck now.
Right.
But we would sit and visit. Well, I didn't find out till years later that it took Mother and Daddy 2 months to save that money for them, and then for us to get one present apiece. Mother got one, Daddy got one, Bud and I each got one present. And when our grandmother started living with us, when I was 12, then she got one present. And we all, you know, but it didn't matter. It was like, this is what you do at Christmas. And we did that until each of those ladies died. I found out later that, and this girl's mother told me, but she was a young lady then, but I found out later that my daddy, I don't know how he did it, but there was a lady who worked in town domestically. She would take care of folks' houses, she'd clean, she'd do anything. Single mother, and Daddy some way sent her daughter to college.
Wow.
And some way he worked, and maybe they got help, but she went to Tuskegee Institute. And Daddy never told anybody. Well, Mother knew it, of course.
I don't know that I knew that.
Yeah, Mother knew it. But after Daddy died, Sally, her mother, told me about it.
Miss Sally.
And I found out, I got letters after Daddy died from people who said, "Your daddy did this for me. Your daddy helped me." And when you said that about, we didn't have any money.
Right.
But Daddy did stuff. Like he would find out things. He would help her go to school, not only give her some money when he could, but he found out how can she get help from the college. And Daddy never went to college, but he would find out how to do that. He would talk to people. Oh, he would call our state legislator anytime and talk about, we need to do this. We need to help these children. That's where I learned about giving. And Daddy always did it for somebody else. He was helping somebody else. So when I tell somebody, "Give me some neck," there's a lot behind that story. And I think of those 10 grocery bags for $50 full of food that help those ladies. And you know, a gift goes more than just, I've eaten that up now. You never eat up when somebody shows you how valuable you are.
That's the truth.
And that God loves you, and Christ came for us. So that's my biggest memory and strongest memory of giving.
That's good. I like it. I would love to see anyone get out of the grocery store today with one bag for $50.
Oh yeah, goodness. Especially if you're eating organic, of course.
Of course.
Everything we had was organic because we grew it or killed it. But
good.
thank you, Joyce. That's a fun memory.
Yeah, it's good. Thanks.